I need you to arrest this man right now. He has refused to let me into his home on 4 separate occasions. 4 times. He is in direct violation of Pembroke Commons HOA compliance procedures, and I will not tolerate it. President Iris Galloway of Pembroke Commons welcomed new homeowner Weston Alcott with a smile, a neatly prepared packet, and a request to inspect the interior of his home within his first week of moving in. She presented it as standard procedure for all new residents. When he refused, she escalated, issuing fines, sending certified letters threatening legal consequences, and eventually calling local law enforcement, claiming he was obstructing compliance procedures. She hoped the police presence would accomplish what her repeated visits and mounting violation notices had not. What she didn't know was that Weston had already submitted a formal written request to the HOA board, asking for the exact governing document language that authorized interior inspections, and received nothing in return. 3 neighbors had quietly confirmed to him that no such policy had ever been enforced on them, and the officers she called were about to tell her, clearly and on record, that she had no legal authority to force entry into a private residence. Every visit, every exchange, every word spoken on that porch had been recorded by a camera she passed each time she approached his door. Before we go further, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments. We love seeing where everyone is tuning in from. And if you believe your front door belongs to you, that no landlord, board member, or HOA president with a clipboard and a superiority complex has the right to walk through it without your permission, hit like, subscribe, and join us here on Karen Unhinged. Pembroke Commons sits off Callaway Ridge Road in Sacramento, California. 49 single-family homes with uniform beige exteriors, identical mailboxes, and HOA collecting $2,900 annually per household. Board meetings were held monthly at the Pembroke Commons Clubhouse on Alderton Court every 3rd Wednesday. For 4 years, Iris Galloway had run the community, and during that time, she developed a very specific method for handling new residents. She approached them early, before they settled in, before they built relationships, before they fully understood the rules, and more importantly, what the rules didn't say. She arrived with a welcome packet, a friendly demeanor, and a scheduled new resident interior orientation, a walkthrough to ensure the home's layout and decoration met community standards. Most residents, not wanting conflict from the start, allowed her inside. Over 4 years, Iris had entered 14 homes using nothing but confidence and timing. Weston Alcott was supposed to be the 15th. He wasn't. Weston, 39, had just moved into 3318 Pembroke Court. It was Friday, and by Sunday morning, he was still unpacking boxes when Iris knocked. He opened the door calmly. He was a quiet man, deliberate in his speech, with the kind of steady composure that came from thinking before speaking. As a senior compliance analyst for a financial regulatory firm in downtown Sacramento, reviewing governing documents and identifying overreach wasn't new to him. It was his job. He listened as Iris explained interior orientation with practiced warmth. Before she finished, he asked a single question. Which section of the Pembroke Commons governing documents authorizes the HOA to inspect the interior of a privately owned residence? Iris responded that it was standard procedure for all new residents. Weston clarified. That wasn't what he asked. She smiled and said she would follow up in writing. Then she left. Weston went back inside, opened the HOA's governing documents on his laptop, and spent 45 minutes reviewing all 39 pages. He found nothing. No clause, no mention, not even a passing reference to interior inspections. He closed the document and waited. 3 days later, the follow-up arrived. Not an explanation, a violation notice. A $250 fine for failing to comply with the new resident orientation policy, due within 14 days. Weston photographed it, created a folder labeled Pembroke HOA, and submitted a formal written request to the board. He asked for the specific bylaw number and the exact language authorizing interior inspections. He sent it via certified mail and kept the receipt. Then, he called his neighbor across the street. Winifred Fairweather, a retired librarian in her late 60s, had lived at 3317 Pembroke Court for 9 years. He asked casually whether she had been required to allow an interior inspection when she moved in. She paused before answering. "Yes," she said, then added quietly, "I just wish someone had told me I could say no." Weston thanked her, went back inside, and made one more call, this time not to the HOA. The board never responded to his request. Not in 14 days. Not in 30. Never. He sent a second certified letter asking the same question. It also went unanswered. 2 letters, 2 confirmations, and complete silence. Weston added both receipts to his folder. Iris returned on a Thursday evening, this time with Montgomery Stubbs, an HOA board member known for agreeing with everything she said. She informed Weston that the board had reviewed his refusal and unanimously determined that his noncompliance could affect his standing in the community. Montgomery nodded along. Weston asked him to show him the governing document language authorizing the inspection. Iris replied that it was established community practice. Weston explained that practice was not the same as a legally enforceable rule. Until she could provide actual language, no one would be entering his home. He closed the door. Neither Iris nor Montgomery had anything to say. The following week, another fine arrived, for $100 this time, noting the original $250 remained unpaid, bringing the total to $650 plus late fees. Weston documented it and contacted Evander Cross. Evander was a civil rights and property law attorney based in downtown Sacramento. For 12 years, he had handled cases involving institutions overstepping their authority. He listened to the full situation, without interruption. Then he gave Weston 3 instructions. Stop paying, stop engaging directly with Iris, and allow him to handle all communication. Evander sent a formal records request to the HOA, demanding complete governing documents and written proof of the inspection policy. Under California HOA transparency law, they had 14 days to respond. They didn't. Meanwhile, Iris escalated. Landscaping violations for compliant grass. Noise complaints with no incidents. Parking notices for a legally parked car. Every claim was baseless. Weston documented everything. Across the street, Winifred watched it all, keeping her own written log of visits, vehicles, and encounters. Then Iris called the police. She reported that a resident at 3318 Pembroke Court was obstructing mandatory HOA procedures, implying there might be something inside he didn't want inspected. She requested officers to compel cooperation. She had used this tactic before, and it had always worked. This time it didn't. 2 officers arrived late Tuesday morning. Weston saw them coming on his driveway camera and opened the door before they knocked. Calm and composed, he asked how he could help. They explained the complaint. Weston stepped inside briefly, returned with a folder, and handed them his property deed, HOA documents, and certified mail receipts. Then he asked them the same question he had asked for 6 weeks. What law requires a homeowner to allow an HOA president into their private residence? The officers reviewed the documents, then looked at each other. Iris stood nearby, confident. The first officer turned to her and asked for the governing document authorizing the inspections. She said it was standard practice. He asked again for the specific language. She said the board had approved it. The officer closed the folder, handed it back to Weston, and stated clearly that they could not force entry without a warrant or evidence of criminal activity. This was a civil matter, outside their jurisdiction. Using police services for this purpose was inappropriate. Winifred documented everything. The camera recorded the rest. Iris left without another word. The next morning, Evander filed suit. The case included fraudulent fines, harassment, misuse of emergency services, invasion of privacy, and abuse of authority. But the most critical claim was a pattern, targeting new residents with a policy that didn't exist. Evander subpoenaed HOA records, 14 homes, 14 inspections, 0 legal basis. Every homeowner had complied simply because they didn't know they could refuse. Several came forward. What began as one dispute became a documented pattern of systemic abuse. The court ruled against Iris on every count. She paid Weston's legal fees, damages for harassment, and penalties for filing a misleading police report. Montgomery settled separately, issuing a statement of regret that made it clear he wanted distance from the situation. The state HOA regulatory board suspended Pembroke Commons board for review. Iris was removed and banned from HOA leadership roles in California for 5 years. Weston went home, closed his door, and arranged his home exactly as he pleased. No one ever asked to enter again. If your HOA has ever tried to cross a line they had no right to cross, share your story. We want to hear it.